Hey guys, I'm back again with a brand new deck profile. In fact, this is one I've been trying to finish up for quite some time now, but I finally got the last cards I'd been needing, and yep, here it is. I know some of y'all been wanting this, so here's my Harpie Lady Deck, which, again, thankfully I finally got it done. It's a really fun deck. It's got the potential of being competitive, like at least a tier 2 deck. All it needs now is that Harpie Link monster, but all we can do is just wait for that. But this has some of the new support from Sisters of the Rose, and of course I made some twists with this deck and figured out like what's the correct ratios, how this deck actually functions, and yeah, I'll just get right into it. Okay, so starting off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Harpie Channeler. This card is one of your best openers, mainly because of this card is, well, you can, once per turn, you can discard one Harpie monster, or one Harpie card, I'm sorry, special summon one other Harpie monster, so this includes Harpie's Pet Dragon, from your deck in face-up defense position. So, and if you control a dragon-type monster, this card's level becomes 7. So you can get into some free rank 7 plays, and Harpie's Pet Dragon is a level 7. So you can get into like Big Eye, Red Ice, Flare Metal Dragon, and so on. Next up, Harpie Harpist. If this card is in your hand, or you can use it as discard fodder for Channeler, but the best thing about this card is that this card itself kind of acts as a Rhoda. If this card is sent to the graveyard during the end phase, you can add one level 4 Wing Beast monster with 1500 or less attack points. So this searches out basically your Channeler, your Perfumer, your Oracle, all your necessary key pieces. Next up, 3 Harpie Queens. This is basically my deck's version of Terraforming. You discard this to add a Harpie's Hunting Ground, and yeah, that's pretty much it, and it's a 19k body, so really good. What I do like about the Harpies in general is that they all count as Harpie Lady while they're on the field and in the grave. And there's some that are just always treated as Harpie Lady regardless. So, yeah, it's really good. Next up, 2 copies of Harpie Perfumer. I'm not running 3 because reason being is that I found you don't really want to see this card too often. You want to be able to summon it through the effect of Harpie Channeler. Because when this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck that lists Harpie Lady Sisters in its text. But if you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you get to add 2 cards instead. But it has to be a different name, of course. But the reason I don't want to see it too often is because, again, I'd rather special summon it through the effect of Channeler. That way I can get more pluses out of it. And if I already have Elegant Egotist in hand, I could just play... I could bring out Harpie Lady Sisters and then, bring out Harpie Perfumer afterwards. That way I can get the 2 pluses. Next up, we got Harpie Oracle. Now this thing pretty much does the same thing. Only, so here's how it works. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can special summon this card basically for free. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap that also lists Harpie Lady Sisters. But this is from the grave to your hand, so... But it's a good way to, recycle your cards. So it's like... Because there's some cards we don't play like too many of, we can just recycle it over and over. So Harpie Oracle really comes in handy for that. Next up, 2 copies of Harpie Lady 1. Just for a power boost, and they count as, and they're always treated as Harpie Lady, as well as 1 Cyber Harpie. Figured that these were the best ones. 1 Harpie Dancer. I used to run 2, but decided 1 was actually enough, because much like Harpie Perfumer, you actually don't want to see this card at all. You'd rather just special summon it for free, or add it to your hand later, so yeah. Of course, 1 Harpie Lady Sisters. You gotta run it, because you get additional benefits now with some of the Harpie support. And 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Dragon. Once again, just to get some free rank 7 plays. Alright, let's fix the camera. And the only hand traps, for monsters at least, I'm playing is 3 copies of Drone Logbird, it's Wind. And also, it's the best hand trap in the format right now. This stops so many decks like Danger Thunder, or any search reliant deck. So Drone Logbird, definitely one of the best cards. And that's it for monsters, so going to go ahead and move over to the spells and traps. So starting, of course, playing 3 copies of Harpie's Hunting Ground. This is basically your MST, and it's not once per turn. So anytime a Harpie monster, or Harpie Lady, or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal special summon, whoever conducted the summon, you pop 1 spell or trap on the field. This is mandatory, so it's not optional. But it's good because you can also pop some of your own cards, which get benefits if they're popped. So for example, like this one, which comes to our next card, Hysteric Sign. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Elegant Egotist from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. And if it's sent to the graveyard the same turn, you can add 3 Harpie cards of different names from your deck to your hand. So like you pop this with Harpie's Hunting Ground after you get your Elegant Egotist going, and then yeah, you just get like a +3, or technically it's a +2 because you know you played 1 card, so yeah. But again, really good. I'm only playing 2 copies of Alluring Mirror Split. I was going to run a third, but I was like, you know, I think 2 is fine because it's searchable. So when a Harpie or Harpie Lady Sisters you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon another Harpie from your deck with a different original name. If this card you control is destroyed by a Harpie card, its effect, or by your opponent's card effect, you can target 1 Harpie monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So that's all it does. Is like it's just basically like a Monster Reborn-ish card, and just like gives you free summons. That way you always have a monster on board. 2 called by the grave, you know. I couldn't really make room for a third right now, so I figured 2 is just fine. I mean, I could run a third if I wanted to later, but I think 2 is perfectly fine. 1 Harpie's Feather Rest. This card is basically your Pot of Avarice. You shuffle back 3 Harpie Ladies or Harpie Lady Sisters in your graveyard. Draw 1 card, and if you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can draw 2 cards. So, really excellent card. I actually enjoy using this, but I think 1 is enough because, again, you can recycle it through Harpie Oracle fairly easily, so yeah. 1 Elegant Egotist, you know, just to bring out even more Harpie monsters and Harpie Lady Sisters. 1 Phalanx Pike. This enables the OTK in this deck. So the whole point of this deck is like you pop your opponent's back row, just kind of like remain in control and negate his effects with Harpie's Featherstorm, and then once he's completely wide open, you equip Phalanx Pike to one of your monsters, and since everything becomes Harpie Lady while in the graveyard, your monsters get a very high power boost, because this Phalanx Pike gives your monsters 900 attack points for each card in either player's graveyard that has the same name as it does, and everything turns into Harpie Lady while on the field, so Phalanx Pike really busted for that reason. Next up, Harpie's Featherstorm, which in itself is a hand trap. It's basically a skill drain for a turn. So whenever your opponent activates a monster effect, you ditch this to the graveyard as long as you control a Harpie card or Harpie monster, and your opponent can't activate monster effects for the duration of the turn. And luckily enough, this does not affect you. So yeah, Harpie's Featherstorm is really powerful. It affects the whole field, as most people tend to make a mistake about, because I remember one time on YGO Pro, I was playing against a Harpie deck using my dinosaurs. Tried to use Oviraptor's effect. He played Featherstorm. I dumped Miscellaneous Source, but Miscellaneous Source's effect didn't resolve because, again, Featherstorm affects your opponent's field, so I couldn't do anything. So Featherstorm, really good, and the fact that it's a trap card, it can't be hit with Called by the Grave, so really, really busted. If only we have Harpie's Feather Duster. Yeah. Alright, so last up, 1 Harpie Lady Elegance. It's searchable. You shuffle back 1 Harpie Lady Sisters from your monster zone into the deck. Then you can special summon 3 Harpie monsters from your hand, deck, or graveyard, 1 of each. And for the rest of this turn, after you resolve this effect, you can't special summon anything except wind monsters, but the whole deck is wind, so that's not going to affect you whatsoever. If this card you control is destroyed by a Harpie card, or by your opponent's card effect, add 1 Harpie monster from your deck to your hand. So like you could set this, pop it yourself, and then just, you know, keep going with that. And lastly, 1 Hysteric Party. Activate this card by discarding 1 card. Special summon as many copies of Harpie Lady as possible. But when this card leaves the field, destroy all those monsters. But good news is that, you know, it's just like a soul charge. So it just helps you link climb, Xyz climb, and all that stuff. Alright, so for the extra deck, and I'll go through real quickly. 1 Greyfly. You know, it's pretty standard, it's a win attribute. 1 Firefighting Darumidol. So this card's interesting. Gains 100 attack points for every beast, beast warrior, and winged beast monster on the field. Once per turn, you can target 1 spell or trap on each player's field, destroy them. When this card destroys a monster's opponent or your opponent's monster by battle, target 1 of your beast warrior, winged beast monsters that is banished or is in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So it just kind of has like a just a recursion effect. 1 Land Fornicus, you know, just because its arrows keep playing down. Reaper Docus helps with my Summon Sork plays sometimes too, so it's just a good way to further extend. Of course, playing Summon Sork. 1 Borlo Dragon. It's hard to play Nightmares in this deck because everything doesn't have different names. So it's really tricky to play any Nightmares, so I'm just going to have to go with like different cards that are close to it. For Xyz, 1 Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. As long as it has Xyz material, this card can attack directly. And your opponent cannot target any Harpie monsters with effects or attacks. White Lightning Chidori, which you can target one set card. Your opponent controls, return that target to the bottom of the deck. Once per turn, detach one. Target one face-up card your opponent controls and return that target to the top of the deck. One Tornado Dragon to pop spells and traps. Abyss Dweller, cancel out graveyard effects. Baguska for any deck that just built around filling and hook their boards with monsters like Guard Dragon decks. It just plays awkwardly because they can't really use monster effects while everything's in defense mode. One Red Ice Flare Metal Dragon just to burn your opponent for every time he activates an effect. One Big Eye, which is mind control but permanent. Playing the Odd Ice package of Absolute and Meteor Burst. Figured why not. So, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so for the extra deck, and it's a pretty standard extra deck. Playing 3 Pankratops, 3 Artifact Lancias, oops, sorry, I hit the camera. 3 Book of Eclipse. You don't want any Colossus to hurt you, so you kind of just want to play this, get it face down, and you can do all your searches. Spicy tech right here. 3 Magical Hats. Comes in handy too. Works really well with the Hysteric Signs. So yeah, Magical Hats, just a good way to, get all your cards you need into the graveyard. And then lastly, since the whole deck is Wind Attribute, 3 goes in match. It's one of the best floodgates, so yeah. Well, anyway, that's all I got for you guys today, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And I'll catch you guys again next time, and maybe I'll do a combo video for this deck. And yeah, so see you guys around.